16 days ago, the most powerful AI on Earth went dark. Not retired, not depated. Switched off by the United States government. Worldwide. For everyone. Now, all signs point to it coming back. There's leaked code. There's money on it. There's a deadline in Congress. But here's the part they're not saying. When it comes back, you don't have to decide whether you can use it. They do. This is the comeback story. And it's a warning. Let's get into it. So let's start with the leak. Last Tuesday, someone digging through the latest build of Anthropic's coding tool, Claude Code, found strings that weren't supposed to be public yet. Look at what changed. The old wording said Fable 5, Anthropic's top model, was purchased separately from your plan. The new wording bundles it in, a weekly allotment included. In plain terms, they're rewriting the most powerful model from an expensive add-on into part of the subscription. You don't prep billing like that for something you're killing. You prep it for something you're bringing back, cheaper than before. And Decrypt, a news outlet that pulls these apart for a living, confirmed the code is real. So this isn't a rumor in a group chat, it's in the shipped package. Then the corroboration stacked up. Around the same time, Amazon's cloud quietly relisted Fable 5 in its availability docs. The regions it runs in switched back on. Then the people betting real money moved. On the prediction markets, the back by June bets collapsed when a deadline passed. But the money didn't bet against the comeback. It just moved the date. About 62% now say it's back by mid-July. By the end of the year? 98%. The crowd with cash on the line treats a return as near certain. And in Washington, a bipartisan letter landed on Commerce with a hard date, June 26th, demanding answers. Leaked code, a cloud giant relighting the switch, the markets, Congress. 4 arrows, 1 direction. Which raises the obvious question. If it's so clearly coming back, how did it ever get taken away? June 12th, 5:21 in the evening, Eastern. An export control order from the US government suspends Anthropic's 2 most powerful models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5, worldwide, for every user at once. The trigger? Someone found a way around the safety limits, a jailbreak, a trick that talks the model past its own rules, and it unlocked dangerous cyber capabilities. The fix wasn't a patch. It was a kill switch for the whole thing. Here's why that matters to you, even if you never touch this stuff. Because look at what's happening on the other side of the street. OpenAI just launched a new top tier, GPT 5.6, in 3 models, Sol, Terra, and Luna. And the flagship, Sol, you can't have it. It went out as a limited preview to about 20 hand-picked American firms at the government's request for national security. 20 companies, out of everyone. Sit with the shape of that. The 2 most powerful AI systems on the planet, one switched off for the public, one handed to a closed list. Frontier AI stopped being something you buy. It became something you're granted. And not everyone's taking it quietly. The fear writing itself across the feeds. A permanent split, a handful of approved players holding the real power, and everyone else renting weaker tools and calling it access. Which is exactly why the search term spiking alongside all this is sovereign AI. Countries and companies racing to run their own models, on their own machines, so no one can flip the switch on them. The lockout is writing the escape hatch, so the government can take the most powerful AI away from the public. The real question is what it tells you that they're already negotiating to give one of them back. Watch who's in the room. At the G7 summit in France, the seating told the whole story. OpenAI's Sam Altman, seated right next to Trump. Anthropic's Dario Amodei, parked down the table next to Macron. Anthropic walked into these talks starting from behind. So the board pulled Amodei from the White House negotiations, too combative, and sent co-founder Tom Brown instead. One source put it bluntly, the new guy can actually engage. And right after the swap, the talks started going better. Then the temperature dropped from the very top. On June 19th, the president told a reporter he no longer sees Anthropic as a national security threat. His words, well, not now, but a week ago maybe. Called them responsible, called Amodei smart. That's a 9-day turn from national security threat to nice and smart. When the rhetoric thaws that fast, something's being worked out behind the glass. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. The ban might have made the model more valuable, not less. Think about it. After all this, Fable 5 is now the most government-vetted AI in history. Every rival has to clear the same bar to compete. The thing that looked like a death sentence is starting to look like a moat, a wall nobody else can climb. And now, the honest part. As of today, day 16, Fable 5 is not officially back. What actually shipped on the 26th was the other model, Mythos 5, the limited one. Cleared for about 100 critical infrastructure organizations and federal agencies. Not Fable 5, the flagship. Not for you. Anthropic says it's still working to bring the big one back for everyone, with no date. So nobody's lying to you and saying it's live. But read the same receipts the insiders are reading, the bundled code, the relit cloud, the markets, the thaw, and the call writes itself. All signs point to a return. The only argument left is the date. And then there's the kicker. 9 days after the kill switch, AI analyst Andrew Curran reported that an even more capable Mythos successor had already finished training. Could ship as the next version, or stay locked inside. Read that again. They switched it off, and Anthropic spent the downtime training something stronger. The ban hit the product. It never touched the lab. You can pull a model off the shelf. You can't untrain the people who build it. The most powerful AI on Earth is coming back. The only open question is the one that should worry you most. Not when. Who gets to decide? So that's who decides whether you get the AI. Here's the flip side. Because there's a thing nobody tells you when you start typing into one of these. Every question you ask, the dumb ones, the dark ones, the 3 in the morning ones, it's all written down somewhere. And a courtroom just read someone's out loud. You'd think the conversations you have with an AI, a ChatGPT, a Claude, are yours. Private. A scratch pad that forgets you the second you close the tab. They're not. They're a transcript. And recently, a federal prosecutor read one to a jury. The case is the fire that leveled part of the California coast at the start of last year. 12 people dead. Over 6,000 buildings gone. Prosecutors charged a man with starting the blaze that grew into it. And the evidence they leaned on wasn't just phone location data and security footage. It was his chat logs, read to the jury. In ChatGPT, he'd generated images of fire. He'd typed, "Why am I so angry all the time?" And while he was filming the firefighters, prosecutors say he stopped to ask it whether someone could be blamed for a fire started by a cigarette. Here's the part that matters to you. Nobody walked into an office and handed his account over. The logs were obtained through legal process. A subpoena, a warrant, a seized phone. The court reporting doesn't say which. The point isn't the mechanism. The point is that it's possible. Your search bar always was evidence. Now your AI is too. And then the twist. After all that, the prompts, the fire images, the rage, the jury didn't convict. It ended in a mistrial. They deadlocked. 10 of 12 voting to acquit. One juror reportedly said they'd typed the same kinds of things into an AI themselves. Sit with what that means. The surveillance worked. They pulled his private thoughts straight out of the machine. But the theory that your prompts prove what's in your heart? A jury looked at the same prompts they'd typed themselves and didn't buy it. The logs were admitted. They just weren't damning. The retrial is set for October. Same evidence, maybe a different jury. But the precedent's already set. From here on, every box you type into is a witness that can be called. 2 stories in, and the machine looks unstoppable, switched on and off by Washington, reading your mind in a courtroom. So here's a story that goes the other way. Because for all the power, sometimes the AI just isn't good enough, and somebody has to call the old hands back to fix it. You'd think if anyone could hand a job to a machine, it's a car factory. Repeatable, measurable, exactly the kind of work automation eats first. Ford thought so too. It leaned hard on AI inspection, software that checks the cars for defects instead of people. Then the quality started slipping. Because here's what the automation couldn't see. The veterans it replaced, the engineers people on the floor call the graybeards, they carried 30 years of feel. The kind of know-how that catches a problem a camera doesn't have a label for. Replace them, And you don't just lose people. You lose the thing that trained the next generation. So Ford did something you almost never see a company admit it needs to do. It brought them back. Roughly 350 veterans over about 3 years, many of them former employees, hired to retrain the AI and mentor the juniors the AI had pushed out. And a Ford VP said the quiet part out loud. Charles Poon, a senior engineering exec, admitted that swapping those veterans for AI was, in his words, a mistake. His take on the tool itself? Artificial intelligence is a fantastic tool, but it's only as good as the information you use to train it. Here's why this one matters to you, even if you'll never set foot in a plant. This isn't AI failed. The AI is still running. The lesson is quieter and more useful. The win came from humans calibrating the machine, not the machine replacing the humans, and it showed up in the result. Right after they brought the graybeards back, Ford topped the industry's big quality survey. Its first time at #1 in years, so the take on this one is almost reassuring. The hands-on expertise everybody keeps writing off? Still the thing that makes the machine worth anything. The future isn't humans or AI, it's who's checking whose work. Which makes the last story sting a little more. Because while one company was busy admitting it still needs people, two of the biggest names in AI were quietly cutting each other off. And now, the last one. And it's the one that surprised me most. It starts with a fact that sounds like a typo. Meta, the company behind the llama models, turns out it also quietly runs on its biggest rival's AI, Google's Gemini. So here's the news. According to the Financial Times, Google, the one selling Meta that AI, just told Meta it can't have as much as it wanted. And here's the honest part. Because it matters. This isn't one giant slamming a door on a rival out of spite. The reporting says Meta simply asked to buy more than Google could supply. Around the spring, they were told, "We can't give you that much. It's not a wall. It's a shortage." But sit with what we ran out looks like at this level. The shortfall delayed some of Meta's own AI projects. And a company worth $1 trillion started telling its own engineers to go easy on the tokens, the little units that meter how much AI you're using. Ration the AI, internally. Other customers got squeezed too. Meta just hardest, because it wanted the most. And Reuters flat out said it couldn't independently verify the Financial Times report. So hold it loosely. It's one outlet's scoop, denied by no one and confirmed by no one. But here's why it ties the whole episode together. The centerpiece showed you the government deciding who gets frontier AI. This shows you the companies doing it to each other. The most powerful tools on the planet. There isn't enough of them to go around. Not for you. Not even for the $1 trillion players. Access to the best AI is being rationed from every direction at once. So pull it together. 4 stories. 1 shape. The most powerful AI on Earth is coming back. Your private chats can be read to a jury. A car company had to beg the humans to come back. And the giants are rationing the good stuff to each other. Every one of those is really the same question wearing a different mask. Not can we build it? Not what can it do? Who gets to decide? Who gets in? Who gets watched? Who gets cut off? And I'll leave you where we started. The most powerful AI on Earth is about to come back. The question that should keep you up isn't when the lights come back on. It's who's holding the switch. Here's the part they're not saying about all of this. You don't have to be an AI researcher to see who's winning. You just have to keep watching. So do that with me. Subscribe and I'll be here reading the press releases so you don't have to.